Hello, everyone. I'm sorry there was a sound problem, so I'm going to start again. Welcome again to We Serve Canada's Mental Health in Youth series, Elevate Yourself. My name is Anu Srivastava, and I'm the Executive Director of We Serve Canada, and I will be your host today. This is our fourth workshop in the diet and nutrition segment of this series. And after this, we are going to dive into another segment, which is fitness and movement. But for now, thank you so much for your support, for your engagement in this initiative to spread awareness on youth's mental health. So the topic that we are going to be discussing today is balanced blood sugar for optimal health. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome back our very eminent guest speakers who have been with us throughout the diet and nutrition segment. Please welcome Kristen, a holistic nutritional practitioner with 3 decades of experience, and Priyanka Yogini, who is also a holistic nutritional practitioner as well as a certified yoga teacher. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thank you.
I'm going to start right away with my questions. There's so much of buzz about blood sugar. What exactly is blood sugar, and what does it really mean when they say that your blood sugar is good or your blood sugar is bad? I'm going to start with Kristen.
So this is a very important topic. It's an important topic when we talk about weight loss. It's an important topic when we talk about mental health, whether it's with children or adults. It's an important topic in terms of balancing hormones for, women at any age, but perimenopause and menopause. So it's really, if you want results in your life, it's important to make sure that your blood sugar is balanced. And so when we talk about blood sugar, I'm just going to kind of give you explain how blood sugar works in the body in a very simple way. So we have what we call insulin, and insulin is actually an anabolic hormone, which is a fat storing hormone. It's important to make sure that insulin stays balanced. And so when you eat a food, let's just say it doesn't matter what you eat. When you eat a food, your blood sugar you'll eat the food, the blood sugar rises, the insulin rises, and it takes that blood sugar and it brings it into the cell so that the blood sugar doesn't remain high within your bloodstream. If the blood sugar is remaining high within your bloodstream and over a period of time, what happens is this is when we experience, diabetes, blood sugar issues, being hangry. Those women listening, especially women listening, hangry, where if you do not eat, you are like a monster. And same with kids. Kids, when their blood sugar is out of balance, when they haven't eaten regular meals or they're not eating balanced meals, which we'll talk about how to do that, what happens is those kids can't concentrate. Those kids they're bouncing off the walls. And so it's extremely important that we make sure that we are keeping that blood sugar balance, eating proper foods. We'll talk about, what to look for in a meal. And is it a good thing to snack or not to snack? As a metabolic balance coach, we actually teach not snacking, and we teach 3 meals a day and solid good meals. So basically with blood sugar, it's important to make sure that we keep it balanced. It's important to make sure that we're eating the right foods. And it's important to understand that our blood sugar goes up and down, and to understand that our body is designed to make sure we take that blood sugar that's high, bring it into our cells so that we are maintaining balance. Now, Priyanka, I don't know if you have anything that you want to add to that.
That's like complete information as per me. So getting it right that there is a substance hormone in the body called insulin, which receives, which carries the glucose, which is in food, any kind of food you eat. The glucose, the sugar is there, which we can categorize into simple or the complex sugar. And fruits have the simple sugar, and then there are complex sugars as well. And they are sugar which are not good for us. So that needed to be carried by insulin and get into the cell, which gives us energy. And since it's for TD Bank, so I will talk about the investment. So if you're making investment and there is no outcome of that, so that if that's not productive, and you're making an investment which is like really productive for you, so gains are more, and then that's lasting longer for you as the gain, which it's the investment you want to see and do, rather than just investment and then doing the bankruptcy, or saying that you are lost, you have not gained anything. That you won't want to do that. So in terms of food also, you have to see which food will bring the investment, quality investment. Is the quality investment and will bring fruit to me, and will be productive or beneficial for my body.
So there was one question that somebody actually posted earlier that they wanted me to ask, is that is sugar good or bad? So before we delve into more like what are the quantities and how we can regulate the blood sugar and all that, can one of you answer the question, like, is in general sugar good or bad, or like what is it considered to be?
Yeah,
it's not good. Or it's not bad. I'd say it's not. I don't personally, and Priyanka, you probably feel the same way. I don't like the word bad. Sugar, we need sugar. Our brain works off of sugar, right? We need that glucose. But the question is not, is sugar bad or good? The question is, where are we getting the the sugar from? Yeah, right? So we'll talk more about this, but are we, like fruit, for example, there's many people out there saying that we shouldn't eat fruit because of the sugar. I just posted on Facebook today a date. I posted a snack. It's a date with almond butter in it. And someone commented and said, someone I know commented and said, oh, but it's so much sugar. And so I thought, oh, this is interesting because we're talking about this tonight. And I said, well, actually, the sugar from a date, with all the nutrients that a date has, the sugar from a date, when you pair it with almond butter that has fat and protein, it's going to respond very differently and metabolize differently in your body than if you were to have, say, I don't know, like a processed sugar, a chocolate bar, cookies, cakes, that sort of thing, right? So it's not that it's bad, it's not that it's good, it's what's the source, where are you getting it from? So remember, we talked about this 80% of the time. What sugars are we eating 80% of the time? And if they are natural sugars, which we'll talk about, then that's a good thing. And then when you eat the 20% that's not so great, the processed, then your body's not going to it's not going to be as bad for your body, because it's only once in a while and your body can handle it.
Right. No, I think obviously it's whatever you put in your body is whatever it's going to generate. So definitely we have to be very cognizant of the fact as to whatever we are putting in our mouth. So I think I'm going to ask the next question is, what is a good daily intake of sugar for anyone's health? Maybe Kristen, maybe you can start again, and then Priyanka can add.
So as a holistic nutritionist, I don't teach counting calories. I don't teach, you have to count, whether it's count how much sugar it is, count how much carbohydrates. I don't teach that because I think that we can't maintain a healthy lifestyle, or we can't maintain that. That, to me, is more part of that diet mentality, right? It's about how can we maintain a lifestyle where things are easy. Because if something is hard, if I have to count how much sugar, did I have too much sugar? Did I not have enough? I'm going to be stressed out. I'm going to be overwhelmed. And guess what I'm going to crave? More sugar, because when you're stressed, more sugar. So I don't count. You can Google and say, how much should a woman at this age not over exceed? and Google will tell you. But what I'm going to suggest is a much easier way and a better way for lifestyle is I'm going to suggest looking at, you know, how much whole food, we've talked about this, how much whole food can you eat in a day in terms of fruit, berries, you know, can you eat a variety of fruits and berries, okay? Think about, you know, over a week's period as opposed to necessarily daily, like over a week, start journaling out. What are you eating? Because the thing is, what you write down, you actually are able to remember, right? So on Monday, you write down exactly what it is that you ate. Tuesday, and you take a look over the week and you say, okay, well, you know, what was going on each day? And then you can adjust it. How do I feel? You know, this day, I noticed I had more juice than normal. I had more cookies, and I actually had a soft drink. And so then you ask yourself at the end of the day, say, how do you feel? Because if you can actually listen to your body, let your body tell you what's going on, your body will automatically, or if you're crashing and you have that drink, that soft drink, and you're like crashing, and you can't even focus properly, and you have brain fog, and you're irritable, that's a sign that there's been too much sugar. So I don't count. I would recommend journaling what it is that you're eating and take a look at what your week looks like. And then from there, you know how to adjust. And if you're not sure, this is why we do what we do. And you can always reach out and ask these questions, even have a consultation to help you further learn how to do that. I hope that answers the question.
No, it does actually. It's very interesting, Kristen. What you have said is, of course, everything is what you're eating. Of course, that is a given. But apart from that, one of the interesting things that you mentioned was that you do not promote like snacking on a more regular basis. You're saying more 3 meals a day sort of thing. That I find is sometimes, like I've heard a lot, that it is your blood sugar will be more balanced if you eat more frequently. That was one of the things that I had heard. So it's interesting that you're saying that it's better to have that type of food that will be 3 meals a day, but at the same time, it'll sustain you enough to maintain that blood sugar for the 3 hours in between or whatever that is.
Yeah.
So, thank you for that explanation. No, that's excellent. Since we're talking about the foods, I think I'm going to ask Priyanka that what are the foods that promote balanced blood sugar?
So you sum up very nicely. You recreated what Kristen was creating before. That why 3 meals are would help you balance your blood sugar, because the meals are containing the food which is holistic, the complete food, and there is optimum amount of fat, protein. Like it's not just you're eating bananas and the fruit. There is only salad or fruits. They are only fruits or greens, and then so if they are greens, they will last longer. If they are just fruits, within 2 hours you will feel 90 minutes, you will feel hungry, because they will get absorbed easily and fast into the bloodstream, and then after a certain time you have crash and again crash. So that's the time you have to think, if you want a fuel which will last longer, and then you don't have to again go to the fuel station to get the fuel up. So I see it like, which food would be good. So a food should have your greens, vegetables, and fat, healthy fat, as we spoke about this, healthy fat in our previous episodes and all. So, and there is protein also. So all this, the complete meal together will last longer. So it can last for 7 hours, 5 hours. And we don't recommend, as metabolic balance coaches, we don't recommend more than 7 hours break between, but nighttime you can have 12 hours. So that's also debatable. In some cases, 16 hours intermittent fasting works. And in some cases, eating meal after every 2 hours work. But then, I am being a metabolic balance coach, and I suggest people having 3 meals 5 hours apart would work best to balance their hormones, which gives them signal, and that your system is full and let us work whatever internal is going on, rather than making you hungry, angry, and then you are reaching out to the food, and whatever best possible you will see in your shelf or in your fridge, you will have pick it up to have that energy. So the food choices, like what to eat, and there is so much information, and every expert is saying so. A friend of mine, she recommends 2 hours food, but then how in long term that's gonna be detrimental for your body, not gonna be good for your hormones, that's a debatable thing. So how much research is there, and then since how long this kind of food? So look at our ancestors. They used to eat home make food most of the time, and if the festivals are there, then there is another issue, and they would have 3 meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's how our system is, it's like, it will work best. So your question was like, what kind of food? And there's certain kind of food like bananas. I used to eat bananas before, but not anymore now, because I was eating only bananas, and then I used to feel full, and after 2 hours, 3 hours, I will be hungry again. But now I can stay 6 hours without food, like I can maintain 6 hours gap. Versus
No,
like
so Priyanka, sorry, Priyanka, I was just interrupting. Maybe you can give me 2 snacks that you can have that will last you for 2 hours. So, I mean, I like, for example, Kristen said that if you have date with almond butter,
yeah,
because it has the fat and the protein and the sugar, it'll probably last you for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So what one other snack that you can think of that we can have that can at least last you for 2 hours? And then maybe I can quickly ask you a meal that will last for 5 hours.
Sure. For snacking, if you say, which will last longer, you add, I'm naming it, you can have nuts and seeds, and you can club it with green vegetables or greens, and then maybe you can throw one fruit, like apple.
Okay.
So I would say apple, nuts, seeds, and greens. And then
Okay, because I've also seen a lot of people having apple with the almond butter.
Yeah.
So that would also be one of the
That
things
would
that
also
you
be
could
a good
go
snacking. And then if you add, whenever I have only fruit with nut butter, my system asks for greens. I consume Juice Plus, so I have a bunch of Juice Plus, and then I eat that. But other than that, sometimes I just warm my vegetables if I'm having it early mornings, because I don't want to drink smoothie early morning these days, or having a cold fruit or vegetable out from fridge. So I take it out a little before, and then I warm it up little, say about for 1 minute, and very low temperature, and this is how I am consuming it, and it's really tasty. So this is one example. You can have it full cream milk, full milk, like yogurt made out of full cream milk, full milk, like 3.8% here, like full, and then you can have it with fruit, mango and yogurt is really a good combination. So in India we call it lassi. You can make it lassi out of it, and that really stays really long, really longer.
Okay, I'm going to move on to my next question, that how does having a balanced blood sugar level affect youth's mental health? I'm going to ask Kristen that question.
So as I was mentioning in the first question, I would say I tapped into that there, but the biggest thing is to remember, okay, that every time we eat, our blood sugar, right, it elevate, right? So insulin has to elevate. And then I'm going back to Priyanka, as we're just talking about, is let's say breakfast, elevate, right? And then we drop. And then we eat a snack 2 hours later, elevate, and then we drop. And then we eat lunch, elevate. And you see this happening? This is not what we want, okay? So just like I said with youth, with adult, it doesn't matter who it is. If it's menopausal women, if we want to have less brain fog, if we want to sleep better, if we want balanced hormones, we need to make sure that this here is more becoming this, right? So that is going to, and exactly what, I'm just tying everything in here. So exactly what Priyanka was saying is making sure that we have those meals, 3 meals a day. If you need to snack, this is what I tell clients all the time. If you need to snack, it's because your meal that you had prior, if it was lunch or breakfast, usually people need to snack more in the afternoon. It's usually because the meal that you had in the afternoon was not substantial with protein, carb, and fat. So that's going to, same with kids. I mean, think about kids, their lunch boxes. I have friends that are teachers, and they tell me, you should see what the kids come to school with. They come to school with pop and packaged food and all of the food. It's very rare that they see kids come to school with whole food. It's all packaged food, and all of that packaged food is processed food. Remember, we talked about the whole food, whatever session it was, maybe a couple sessions ago, probably each time. And so with processed food, that food is going to go through your system very rapidly, right? Just like you were saying, Priyanka, with the fruit goes through your system, it metabolizes quickly. The processed food does the same thing, and it has no nutrition. So when we talk about mental health for kids and balancing blood sugar, number one is they need to leave the house. Women, parents, you need the house as well with a balanced breakfast. And then we need to make sure with kids, I would say as well with kids, that you have balanced breakfast and a good snack, right? A good snack would be apple and almond butter. They can take that to school. It may not be as popular, but I say, why don't we be trendsetters? Why don't we be the ones where the kids are like, wow, what is that, right? And then lunchtime, it needs to be a balanced lunch, right? So maybe it's, it usually typically with kids, it's got to be easy. So, something that's easy, that's really great. This is actually a really great thing that we can post afterwards on the feed is just a couple different snacks, a couple different lunches, right, and breakfast. And then afternoon snacks for kids at school, again, or if the kids are at home right now, it's important to make sure, again, it's a snack that is not packaged. We don't want all of it packaged. It doesn't mean they can't have any package, but if you want your kids' blood sugar to be balanced so that they don't have brain fog, they can concentrate, they're not bouncing off the walls, they're not irritable, they don't come home from school, just in a really bad mood. Teenagers, right? Same thing. If they're moody, what's going on with their blood sugar? How often are they eating? What are they eating? How much water are they drinking? So we can really go back to keeping it basic and simple. Maybe you just start with, because a lot of families right now, if Priyanka and I were to talk about, what we would recommend, families would probably be like, okay, you got to be kidding me. So what I suggest is start with snacks. What are 2 healthy snacks, say morning and afternoon, that they can start with? Let's just start there, right? Sometimes, I think we talked about this before, sometimes we got to go from worse, better to best, right? When we talk about sugar, not so great sugar options. I talk about to clients all the time that are like completely going from worst. I don't have them completely switch from, white sugar or brown sugar. By the way, brown sugar is just white sugar with molasses. So white sugar, brown sugar, I don't have them going all the way to Lakanto or maybe not even maple syrup yet. Maybe I'm just going to organic cane sugar, or maybe it is maple syrup. So we've got to just take steps and meet people where they're at, but you keep it simple. So to kind of wrap it up is, if we want our kids learning better, not as moody, sleeping better, having better immune systems, we've got to make sure that their blood sugar is balanced. And so I'm hoping that we kept it simple enough to really understand how to do that. because I don't want anyone leaving here going, okay, there's so much information, I'm still not sure how to do that. So Anu, since you're coming from where you're coming from, does that make sense? Did we do a fine job?
No, it definitely does. It does make sense, because that's why I really like about this panel is that it is so simple. And what I really like about the explanations of which are back to the basics. So you are not giving some really high fancy gourmet cooking or something like that. It's really very, very simple. Like you mentioned about a date with almond butter. Anybody can buy those. Anybody can, even the kids, you can package that in their lunches, have whole foods in there. No, I think you have made it really very, very simple, and I do definitely understand that, and I'm sure the audience really appreciates that this is not really very fancy, but at the same time, I also remember, Kristen, one of the things that you had mentioned in one of the segments that we had, and you said that if you are to take at least one thing away from whatever the workshops you have attended and incorporate it in your daily life, whether it is like Priyanka says, drinking water or having one apple a day, or just regulating your life like for 5 minutes or whatever that is. I think that would be one thing that I would really encourage all our audience to really take away one simple tip from each workshop and try and incorporate it in your daily life, so that we can actually benefit from everything that we are doing. And of course, we have these experts always there for you to fall back upon whenever you need more specific help. So I'm going to ask one more question. How does blood sugar really connect with physical and mental health? Is there a connection between it, and how does it really, how does it become apparent, or how can we see it? Priyanka, you want to answer that?
I can answer that. It's like blood sugar. It's the sugar, the glucose. Anything we are eating, that will get converted into glucose, and that's the fuel for your brain. So if the fuel is not there, or quality fuel is not there, you will have disconnection, like brain fog, and you will have lack of energy, and you'll feel like munching because your body is saying like, I don't have energy, so eat something. But that's not the solution of that. The other solution for that is having making little changes: hummus and carrot, date and almond butter, and like small changes, nuts and all. So you can have different kind of nuts, and you can have that, so which will provide food to your brain, and that will stop affecting that will start affecting your brain in a good way, and you'll be alert. So last time we talked about like almond oil or almond butter, so you can incorporate that into your food. And there are certain kind of mushrooms like reishi mushroom, chaga, that's really add on to your mental health. These are adaptogens. And ashwagandha, tulsi. So these are adaptogens. You can keep adding, or start with small portion of that. And that will really help in mental health. But the key source is nutrient. If your body is not getting enough nutrition, it will crave for it. And then there will be a disconnect. Your brain and body won't be able to work perfectly if there is lack and gap there. So try fill that gap up with the nutrition. Our body is our temple, and then we are living in it. So why not take care of your body by giving it, and then we have to request you like small changes, but you can take the challenge. Some of you will love to accept the challenges, that I'll give healthy food to my body. I'll make healthy choices, less processed food. So if on the label you see there are so many ingredients, so many things which you don't understand, like colors and codes are there, don't buy those. If you're a person who would buy packed food because it's easy, convenient, and I understand you're busy. So buy something which has least ingredients. If it's almond milk, just the almonds are there, organic almonds or almonds are there, and no additive sugar is there. So you may consider that in as compared to, or in place of anything, any package which has more things in it. And yeah, that affects your brain. Like if you'll start making choices which are nutritive, you will see that now you're thriving, you are able to focus, your energy is high, and you'll be able to contribute more to your life.
You have to add anything to it?
Yeah, I have one other thing. So that's good. So always remember that our mental, physical, we're completely connected, right? We're not just one piece. And so when you take care of your mental health, what's going on the energetic level as well will eventually manifest into your physical body. So if you're dealing with physical symptoms, like for example, when I was sick over the holidays, my homeopath had said, because when you go to a homeopath, they're not just looking at the physical, they're looking at deeper layers down. And so she had said to me, in terms of the remedies that she gave me is, what's going on emotionally? She started asking all these different questions of, okay, what was happening before this actually happened, right? So you have to understand that understand that we're physical beings, we're spiritual beings, and we have this mental stuff going on, and it will impact your physical body. So if we are not taking care of the physical with micronutrition, like we talked about, whole foods, and all the things we're talking about right today, and then the other sessions, then what happens is that impacts our physical body, that impacts our mental health because it's feeding our brain or not. And then also the last piece here is, what kind of work are you doing on your mental health? For example, building up your mindset. How are you talking to yourself? Because it's not just about the food we eat. Do you acknowledge yourself? Do you talk worse? Would you ever talk to your friends the way that you talk to yourself, right? Like these things are very, very important and we can't ignore them. So that's something that I think we have to look at, because I think a lot of women listening, but live and by recording, probably could say, oh yeah, like, because I can't tell you how many women beat themselves up because, well, they fell off the wagon, I'll just start next week. And then that happens over and over and over again. And then they just finally believe that, nothing works. Well, something does work. We've just got to get to the solution and the root cause. So if I can just leave anything from this last session is, what are you speaking to yourself? How are you acknowledging yourself every day? What are you doing for yourself that is self-care? And I'm not talking about pedicures and manicures. How are you looking after yourself? And by feeding yourself, like what we've been talking about these last 4 weeks, feeding yourself with the right food is actually part of self-care. How you speak to yourself, are you getting to bed at a good time? All of these things. So really important.
We do one exercise every morning in the yoga class that we acknowledge ourselves. So everybody gonna get up and they'll acknowledge one good thing in them, one strong point they would like to consider, acknowledging, and which changes the whole equation. This is the way you are starting the day, and then you feel like giving yourself best. And when you when you make the wrong choices or not so good choices, it's like because you think that you're not enough. And that is like in the layers down, because you can work with somebody that why this is happening again, why I'm not able to follow my plans, or I make resolution and then I don't follow it. And then you beat yourself up for that even. But it's like it's human.
But I think I think what you're talking about in a bigger thing is it's self-care in whatever form it is. That is, especially we women, we tend to put self-care as the last at the bottom of the list. So if we put self-care at the top, or at least, we have some recognition of that, then it'll actually follow through in everything what we are doing, whether it is mental, whether it is physical, whether it is emotional or spiritual or whatever that is. But it makes you more wholesome because you are taking care of yourself. And so actually this brings us to the end of our discussion for today's workshop. For the audience, if we have missed any of your questions, do send us a message on our Instagram at We Serve Canada, and we will definitely respond to that. And if you like to connect with our guest speakers, I'd be happy to share their particulars as well. So this really wraps up our fourth and final workshop of the diet and nutrition segment. We obviously have 6 more workshops to go. So 2 of them are going to be on fitness and movement. And then there's going to be 2 workshops that's going to be on nutritional counseling related to mental health. And then there's going to be 2 workshops on yoga and meditation. So we still have 6 more workshops left. But at this point, I would really like to take this opportunity to express my immense gratitude, first of all, to TD Bank for supporting us, for giving us this opportunity to provide all this wealth of knowledge to all our audience and viewers. And then, of course, to our very, very esteemed guest speakers who have been here with us for the past 4 workshops. So not only would I like to thank Kristen and Priyanka, but I would also like to thank Mohammed and Lamya for being part of this segment. And so the launch of this segment of this workshops with TD Bank has been a huge success. And we really hope that we can connect again very soon. So everyone, stay tuned for our next workshop next Wednesday at 5 o'clock on fitness and movement. And in the meantime, stay safe and stay healthy.